Hello, hello, my beautiful, beloved, sacred masculines, and anybody else who finds their way to this channel. Welcome to another episode of Deep Penetration with Star. This is the show where we get deep into some really juicy topic regarding our sacred sexuality, helping us to get into unhealthy belief systems, get into stuck, stagnant, blocked energy, get into our own self-judgment around sexuality, and with the intention of helping us to open it up, clear it out, release, so we can step strong into those gorgeous, beautiful, passionate, sexy, sensual relationships that we're truly long for, those connections that we truly long for. And that can be connection with ourselves, which is first and foremost important, right? Without that, we're not going to have those healthy, sexy, gorgeous connections with another. So it's with ourself, with source, with the divine, with the universe, with our beautiful bodies, with our hearts, and then with another. As within, so without. We have to have that beautiful, loving connection with ourselves, that sexy, passionate energy and connection with ourselves first, before we can have it with another, or with whatever it is that we're wanting to connect with life, right? Sexy, passionate experience and connection with life. We gotta have it internally. We gotta have it internally. So this show is all about supporting that process for us and clearing out whatever is getting in the way of that beautiful connection with ourselves, that beautiful self-love, that beautiful passion for life, right? So many of us are, weighed down by conditioning, limitation, again, that judgment and criticism from self, and then thinking that it's from others, right? Again, as within, so without. So if we're having that experience outside of ourselves, it's because we're judging our own selves very harshly, right? We're so good at that. We've learned well. We've learned well what's acceptable, what's not, what is expected, what are the expectations of family, partners, society, etc. And then we try to conform to all of that, and we keep ourselves very small in doing so, and we shut down so much of ourselves trying to fit in and trying to get that love and connection and appreciation and those accolades from without. Again, if it's not happening within, it's not going to be there in truth. Without, it's going to be false. It's going to be false, and it's not really going to fulfill us. Because it's an emptiness inside, it's a lack inside, it's a disconnect inside. So nothing in the external will ever fill that void for us if we don't have it within first. So I just cannot express that enough. I can't emphasize that enough. That's the word I'm looking for. So along that vein, today we're going to get into some of, we can maybe call this episode True Confessions with Star, because I'm going to share a little bit about my process and what's been coming up for me. As I'm recording this right now, the full moon in Aquarius on August 19th has just gone exact. So we're right in this full moon energy, and it's extremely powerful full moon energy. If you follow astrology and understand it, there's a lot of really powerful squaring energies, which is tension between a lot of different experiences of ourselves, a lot of different energies within ourselves. And the full moon is illuminating, so it's really about helping us to see that stress and tension and all those ways we're keeping ourselves small, all the ways we're stuck in old belief systems that we've inherited, that we've created for ourselves. It's really bringing a lot of that to light, and a lot of us are going through a lot of real challenging times right now as we're being forced to really look at ourselves and what is holding me back? Where am I stuck? What is and how can I move forward? How can I release some of this? But it's deep, it's old, it's unconscious patterns that are maybe getting really loud and in your face right now, because it's forcing you to look at it. Uranus is like, it's time to elevate, but you gotta see this shit. You gotta see some of your patterns. You gotta see some of your stuff. What's getting in the way of you living that dream, living that life of your dreams, being in your passion, having those sexy, sensual connections? What's getting in the way? What are those old limitations, those limiting belief systems that keeping you stuck, keeping you repeating patterns? It's time to break free, and this energy is really helping us to look at it. So I personally have just been going through a lot of angsty, weird, guilt and shame stuff, and it's been really looming large, and I'm just having to look at myself and look at my patterns. And there's been a pattern of guilt and shame for my very existence since day one. I came in, I was put up for adoption from birth, and I've known my whole life. I've always known, and I always thought there was something wrong with me. It's because I was bad. Obviously, that's why my mother didn't want me, right? Because there's something wrong with me. Otherwise, she would have wanted me. If I was lovable, if I was a good person, she would have wanted to keep me. So I just took it in very deeply. Like, there was something wrong with me. There was a lot of, obviously, guilt and shame in the womb. You know, that energy of the womb, we marinate in that for, you know, months. And so I know I've marinated in some heavy, dense shit, you know, and shameful stuff. So I came in with a lot of shame around who I am, and just for existing, you know. So, you know, some heavy shit that I've had to move through, and I continue to move through. And it's kind of like there's like layers to it. Just as I move through some of it, like more will arise, or I just see it at a deeper level. And I'm starting to see how prevalent it's been in so many areas where it just shouldn't be. Shame around like what degree I decided to get, you know, like what the fuck, really? Like I felt shame around that. That's so it's shame around just like, again, my very existence, and for choices I make, and just for being me, for being me, and choosing myself, and choosing what I like and what turns me on, what I'm passionate about. So when I'm able to see those patterns, and see, like, I've been exploring my entire life and looking at where shame showed up in ways that just shouldn't, like that, like the degree I chose. Why would there be shame around that? Like, it's weird. So it's just kind of a foundation. So I'm seeing it, and the beauty of this is when you're seeing all of this stuff, although it's kind of painful and strange and weird and confusing, it's just, that means it's ready to move out, right? When it's coming up to our consciousness. So seeing all of this and really being able to explore it and pick it apart and see where it's shown up in my life is helping me to see, know that it's on its way out, right? It's time for it to go. So I'm really able to understand it more now and see how it has shown up in my life. But for me, a big piece of this right now is shame around, and it's always been there, around sex work, escorting, what I do, what I've chosen, my career, my profession that I've been in for years. And before that, I was a dancer. I've been in sacred sexuality for a very long time. And yeah, I can put whatever terminology I want on it, but there's shame around that escorting piece, you know, sex work. There's shame because it's inherited from our society. It's not supported in this. And for me to even be saying that out loud is just like, ugh, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, well, judgment and criticism. What do people think, you know? And I know it's, that doesn't matter. I was going to say, I know it's getting more supported, or not everyone has a thing with it, but it's just, again, it's an inherited societal thing that, for me, our sexuality and our sexual energy is just, it's always been so important in my life. It's always been such a huge piece to me. It's always been really powerful for me to connect with others, to connect with source, to connect with some divine, gorgeous essence in us that longs to connect with another. And I've always brought that into what I do. And the sensuality and the movement and the being in our bodies, I've always brought that into what I do. I remember my very first time, like, really connecting with another human being. I was in drama class. I feel like I've talked about this before, but just this boy that was laying down, his head was on my lap, and I was just caressing his head, you know, feeling his hair. And it was such a sublime, gorgeous experience. That's the first time I kind of really remember just like, wow, just the sacredness of it. I didn't use that terminology for it, but I know now that I know what it is. And I know that I was connecting at that deep level, and just this reverence for being able to touch and connect with this other being in this way, in this sensual way where I could, like, I was holding his head, like, it just felt so magical to me and so special, you know. It was just really special. And I just love to connect with people like that. I love that aspect of our humanity and of our human lives. And so my whole life has really been about that. And it's gone through, it's been a journey from more unconscious, not having the terminology around it, just knowing I felt that way, but not knowing how to express that, and not having communication skills, knowing that I also really enjoyed a variety of different experiences. Monogamy never worked for me, but again, I didn't have the consciousness, nor did I have the communication skills to be able to explain that to people, so I got myself into a lot of trouble around that one, right? So hence more guilt and shame, because I was being bad. I was off with a number of different people. And so, I was a slut, I was this, I was that, and all these labels and all this judgment and criticism. So I really took that in, and it's been a long journey of picking apart, like, that my connection to my sexuality, to my sexual energy, finding ways that I could really explore and tap into the beauty of my desire to connect with a number of people, to express my sexuality, my sensual energy, to have strong boundaries on it, have good communication around it, so moving into companionship, adult companionship, escorting, whatever you want to call it, worked so beautifully for me. It was just amazing, and I got to really support other people and help them to step into being touched and connected with, and opening into their sexual energy, opening into a deeper type of connection that had a lot of presence and consciousness around it, because in that world there is a lot of unconsciousness around sexuality. So I feel really a beautiful it feels really beautiful to me to bring in a different element into that world. And it's just, that's been a really big piece for me. And I felt really excited about being able to do that type of work. And, the people that I've gotten to connect with, the gentlemen, are just amazing and gorgeous experiences. And it's just so freaking lovely. So again, very empowering and very nurturing for me. And just like, yes, I'm on the right path. Yes, I'm like in what resonates for me, and I'm spreading beautiful love throughout the world and gorgeous connections, and helping people to really step into their sexuality in a whole new way. But again, with that, this weird kind of like judgment criticism thing, and trying to pick it apart for myself and own it and step into it, and still like being cautious about how I explain things in society, and how I put myself out there. And this is maybe the most I've put myself out there around this. I kind of dabble, I step into it. I see some other women out there like really owning it and rocking it, and I just like honor them so much. But I really am going into my own process, going through my own process, and getting a lot more confident around it all. And also I've just really been stepping more into the offering of sacred sexuality, and being a lot more clear on what that is and what that means for me. At least I think I'm being clear, and I understand that's part of what this discussion is about, is my lack of clarity in explaining myself is problematic. But again, it's all about us stepping into our power, right? And this doesn't have to be about sexuality. This can be whatever it is for you. We all are on this journey of stepping into ourselves, owning ourselves, moving through whatever conditioning and limitations that's told us what's acceptable and what isn't in society. And, maybe that's, you really were into creating artwork, and that was your passion, and you really wanted to move into that, but it was not supported in your family. It was shut down, it was ridiculed, it was like poo-pooed. It's like, oh, you can't make a living doing that, or why don't you get a real job, stuff like that, and that can be a lot of things where our passions got shut down so we could fit into, like, you go to school, you go to college, you get your degree, you get the job, you stay in that job forever, and then you retire, and then maybe you go live your life. And you get married to that one person and stay in that situation forever. And that's it. That's what you get. That's the model we've been given. And if you're outside of that, you're going to deal with some shit, wherever along the way that shows up for you, and however it shows up for you, you're going to get pushed back. And regardless if that comes from the external or your own internal questioning, judging, shaming yourself for not following the norm. for not fitting into the model, for not fitting into the conditioning. We judge and criticize ourselves. We've taken it on so fucking beautifully from the outside that we don't even need them to do it. We do it ourselves. We judge ourselves and keep ourselves small out of fear for not fitting into the norm, what we've been handed. I'm feeling myself getting very emotional right now. So I don't even need any of y'all judging me for what I'm doing. I can do it perfectly well by myself. It's amazing, right? This is how we keep ourselves small. This is how the system works. We police ourselves now. We don't even need out there. We've learned so well. We've learned so well. The structures are so set. They're so powerful that we keep ourselves in them just fine. It's crazy. So what I was saying is, if you've been, again, it doesn't have to be around sexuality. It can be around anything, right? But this is the journey. This is us stepping out of it, recognizing our truth and trying to find our truth. Who am I? Who am I beneath all this shit? Who am I beneath all of this stuff I've taken on? And how do I align with that? And it means a lot of letting go. It means a lot of moving through the belief systems. It means a lot of getting conscious of the unhealthy belief systems, because they're deep and they're rich and they're subtle and they're nuanced and they're complex and they're layered and they're sneaky. It's an illusion. It's manipulative. Our belief systems they're so So there's so much to be said around this, and I have had a lot of thoughts, really big awakenings today around this full moon energy and what's been going on. So really what was coming through for me today is the ambiguity around my upcoming pilgrimage that I've tried to be clear about, and I recognize where I haven't been because I've had weird belief systems around it. For me, okay, so there's a number of pieces to this, and thanks for bearing with me as I kind of move through this, because it's not like a linear. There's so much to this that it might go all over the place, okay? But thanks for bearing with me, and I know because you are in your own process, right? You're going through your own stuff and you have your own crazy things you're moving through and trying to break free from, right? And it's not so easy. Because if it was, we'd all be out of it. We'd all be in our alignment. We'd all be living the life of our dreams in alignment with our passions, but yet we're not. So that means we're moving through. So we're moving through. So you appreciate this, I know. And if you've watched this part, you're likely going through your own shit too. This is resonating somehow. Wow, where was I? Oh my gosh. So ambiguity around my pilgrimage. And so there's a lot. I have a pilgrimage, for those of you that don't know, that to India in November that's coming up, and it's a pilgrimage for men. I am a female. I am guiding men on this pilgrimage. I'm guiding men in my programs. I'm guiding men in my sacred sexuality rituals. I'm guiding men in my guidance sessions. I'm guiding men on this channel. I'm speaking to men, and maybe like, why? What is that? Why a female speaking to men? And it's because I think there is, men really need to reconnect with their feminine energies. We all do. Women do as well. We've been very disconnected. It's a patriarchal society. We're very aligned with the masculine. No shunning, no shaming, no blaming. That's just what it is. So to find that balance and harmony and that, authentic divine union within, we need to return to the feminine. We need to strengthen the feminine. We need to understand the feminine energies within us. We need to open up to them, connect with them, allow them, get to know them, right? And that is my passion, is helping to lead men, guide them back into their feminine energies and a healthier masculine expression, because the masculine has just really taken over. So men are just, very disconnected. And through all of my years in sexuality, I know men very well. I know what speaks to them. I know what is in their hearts. I know what they long for. I know the gorgeous fucking beauty of men and their emotions, their hearts. They are deep, gorgeous, amazing, very emotional beings that have been very cut off from their emotions. Whew. But that's not the truth of them, right? And to be guided back to understanding and honoring and allowing emotions and allowing that side of themselves so that they can come into better balance and they can connect with the feminine without. So many people are in unhealthy relationships, and that's what I've seen as well throughout all of my years in doing this. I know a lot about men and the relationships and the challenges they have around relationships. The codependency, the disconnect, the disconnect from the sexual expression with their partners and that sexual union. You know, I know it and understand it at a deep level. I've lived it myself, and I see it in my clients and all the people that I've had the pleasure of working with and connecting with. So I understand so much about what men long for and yearn for and desire and really look to connect with. And they really long for a gorgeous, gorgeous, passionate connection with the feminine. But they cannot have that if they're not connected to their own feminine. As we started out in this show, as within, so without. If you're not having it without, if you're not having that expression, that connection, that beautiful union with your partner, or with the people you're connecting with, there's an imbalance within. You've got to do the inner work. You've got to return to your own feminine. And then when you have a healthy, beautiful connection with your own feminine energy, and you allow your feminine energy, you allow your intuition, you allow your heart to guide you, you allow a healthy balance between the mind and the heart. You allow your emotions, you are comfortable expressing your emotions, you're comfortable communicating yourself, you know yourself. Then you're going to have that, you're going to start having that reflected back to you in your outer experience and in your relationships. And I'm so passionate about supporting men to reconnect with their feminine. And what better guide than a feminine to go connect with guys to lead you back into your feminine energy? I mean, it's just, there's not that can't happen. I'm not saying that at all. Another male that has really done their work around their feminine can certainly help guide you back. Of course, I'm not the only one, right? But there's something magical and special and beautiful about the feminine guiding you back into your feminine, right? Like, hello. And just the experience I have with understanding, and men are able to talk to me and share with me at such a deeper level than they have been with their male friends. And I hear that all the time, like, oh my gosh, I can share so much with you, I can really get deep into this, I'm comfortable, I can open into my emotions, I'm okay crying in front of you. You know, there's just so much that can happen when connecting with the feminine around in a safe space with someone who understands. So this is why I'm so passionate about this. This is why I'm guiding men to India, because it's powerful transformation that happens. There are huge freaking awakenings that just can't happen here. It's just different. It's different when you go on intentional pilgrimage as well. It's very different, and just, you got to get away from all the distractions, and you need a good amount of time. It's another thing, like, why 15 days? Why so long? Because we're doing a lot of work, and we need to allow a lot of time for processing and integrating. If we're constantly on the move, like trying to pack in all these things, where are you going to have time to really connect with your inner self and reflect on all that's going on, all that we're connecting with? Because we're connecting with beautiful God and Goddess temples, beautiful sacred feminine, sacred masculine energies. We're doing energy work, we're doing breath work, we're doing so much that's going to be coming up. You got to have time to reflect and integrate and allow the process. If you go over there for 5 days, like, I'm sure some stuff's going to happen, but for me and my understanding and the way I travel to India, I go there for months. You know, I allow a lot of time, and I know there's people have jobs and stuff, but this is also honoring your own process and honoring your need for transformation and honoring your need to just allow that space for yourself. So hence the longer thing. But where was I going with this? India. Yeah, right. So this is just, but my ambiguity and my kind of, do people think that's weird for a female to lead a bunch of men on a pilgrimage, a sacred sexuality pilgrimage? These are my own kind of inner things that have kept me, I think, from like really stepping in and owning this. It's self-doubt, right? It's self-doubt when we're trying these new things and we're trying this like huge thing that's like, I know how powerful this is. I know how transformative it is. But yeah, the self-doubt. And a piece of this that I got clear on today was, for me, this is a sacred sexuality pilgrimage. It's authentic tantra. It's really connecting with that sacred feminine, sacred masculine within, that divine union within. And part of that for me is having a sacred sexuality ritual there in India, where we do an honoring of the god and goddess within and our own beautiful energies within, and we come together in sacred union. And I think it's important to go beyond just talking about it and have the experiential. And to me, it's a very important piece of the pilgrimage. And I recognize I haven't been super clear, or I felt like I wanted to be able to appeal to everybody, even to people that were in partnership. So I think I was vague on my website about that ritual. And that's my own self-doubt and my own not being clear, and not just like owning this and owning what's really important to me around this, and being concerned that I wanted to appeal to everybody and I wanted to make it accessible for absolutely everybody. That's just, and for any of you who study business, like, that's not it. You got to niche down. You got to just, and be yourself. You got to own it and just do what you do and trust that it's all going to come together. So I just got clear on that I've been ambiguous in my website. So I'm going to change the wording on that today and just get a lot more clear. And the ritual can also be, it doesn't have to go all the way, right? I mean, we can do the ritual in a different way. So like, I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to worry about how it's being received, or will partners be open to that. It's just, it's all workable, and it's all flexible. And I realized I just was locked into some things, and I got so much clarity today, and just feel really good about that now. Feel really good. And it's also me just stepping into what is true for me. I think this is a really important piece of it. And if I was worried about people judging that, like, is that weird? Like, what? Again, and that comes down to the fucking weird guilt and shame around sexual connection that still shows up in my life, regardless of how much I have dedicated my life to helping us to move out of weird guilt, shame, judgment, criticism around our sexuality and around how we show up sexually. So I was judging myself around that, and it was very subtle and sneaky, and kind of, it had really good story to it, and it was interesting, but something about it I knew didn't feel quite right, but I couldn't really tap into what that was. And today I got the clarity, and it's just like, I was still judging myself around that. What do people think? Is that weird? Like, oh my gosh. It just cracks me up, kind of. I mean, it's sad, but it cracks me up. But I've been in a lot of, I don't know, there's all this weird stuff that's coming up. So much where guilt and shame shows up in really sneaky ways for me. So I was just feeling weird about owning that. And I've been like stepping into it more and more and more. So this is me stepping into it more and more and more. So, like, amazing. I know there's more around that. There was a lot of, again, layers and layers of that. Thank you for being here and listening and witnessing my process. And we are, again, in that full moon energy. So whatever's coming up for you, or whatever's been coming up for you, honor your process and trust whatever is being illuminated by this full moon for you. Take the time, allow yourself to go into your process, journal, whatever you need to do. Sit down and meditate with it, or just allow some quiet time for yourself to go into your process and see what you're ready to let go of and where you're ready to move into the next level of your experience and what's been holding you back. There's so much fear that keeps us down. There's been a lot of fear for me around there's some tractor going by. You might be hearing that sound. I'll wait for it to move. Hopefully it does move. This is the beauty of being in my little shuttle bus. I never know what's going on outside, so can't always find the most private places. So that's another weird thing, like living in a shuttle bus, you know? There's weird guilt and shame that comes with that, and weird worry about what people think, where I'm at, am I in their space? Like, it is amazing how much this weird energy shows up in self-judgment and weird worrying about other people judging me. It's like, what in the world? That's what I'm talking about, how much this energy can show up for us in the most random, weird ways. Like, it's just, oh my gosh, I'm really doing everything in my power to just step into the truth of who I am. And this sexuality piece is so important to me, for all of us. I think it's just huge, huge, huge energy for us. We're all really longing for such a different experience of our sexuality. And I know this is going to get long. We're at 31 minutes right now. If I go into the cards, it's going to get a lot longer. Wow. Death on the bottom. I mean, fuck. Can't make it up. Maybe that's really the only card we need, right? This is a huge death, a huge clearing. And that's why we're going to India, to really clear out a lot of this shit. And there's something magical that happens in India. There's some magical energies. It's like this giant vortex on the planet. And this is why so many, saints and enlightened beings come out of India, and people go to India for awakening and for teachings and for spiritual practice and for pilgrimage, because there is a powerful energy there that opens things up that just doesn't happen here. I'm in America right now. I'm in Oregon. Sedona has a beautiful energy, but there's something about India and just all the practice that's been happening, and there's, all the temples. There's just so much intention that's gone into it, and so many people on a spiritual path. It just shifts the energy there. So hence are going to India and not Sedona, or not anywhere here in America, or a lot of places. Bali is also very powerful energy. I was just there, and it was like, again, these awakenings. The energy is just different. It's like a different time-space continuum. So that's why we go there, like, there's been a lot around this pilgrimage where it's just like, well, why don't you just do something smaller here, like a weekend retreat? And it's like, that's not the point. Like, that's not it. If we're looking for that level of transformation that's possible, that I'm interested in, I'm a Scorpio. I am all about this death, rebirth, transformation. And it's like, go big or go home. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? This is my energy. This is why I'm here on this planet, for big, big experiences, not a weekend retreat in the mountains. That's lovely, that's gorgeous, nothing wrong with that. But what I'm looking for, what I'm interested in, are those big life-changing transformations that are going to shift everything for us for good. We're going to come out of there completely different, and really just in a whole new energy and a whole new understandings and all these new awarenesses and a major clearing. You get into the Ganga, bathing in the Ganga, magical things happen, like magical. It's a powerful goddess energy. It's powerful goddess energy. That's the other thing. There's just so much God and goddess energy there that isn't here. We don't have that framework. We don't have that understanding. It's a very different religious, I'll just say religious experience here, Christianity. So the God and goddess temples over there, it's different energies, again, that we're going to connect with, that are huge. They're huge. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it. I wish I had better words for it, but this kind of stuff is beyond language. It's beyond language. And if this is speaking to you and then you know. get in contact with me and let's get you signed up for this pilgrimage, because it's going to be freaking epic and life-changing and amazing, and really help you to really open into that deeper connection with yourself, with source, and then with your partner. And you can take back all of these beautiful things that you're learning, all of these amazing rituals and gorgeous teachings, and take them back and share them with your partner. And it's just so powerful, so powerful. I think I'll stop there. I know I'm forgetting some things. There's so much, but I just had a really big, energetic, like, whoo, movement through. I thank you for being here with me. I thank you for going on this journey with me. I thank you for getting messy with me, because this, again, it's not linear. So I didn't come in with, I usually don't have like notes and stuff, because it's just sharing the process, right? And just opening it up. And my hope is that by my just, getting more clear and sharing my process and opening up, that it helps you to connect with your own clarity and with your own process, and sparks some things for you. So, if that appeals to you, amazing. And obviously, if you're here, it does. So, and it's obviously something about sacred sexuality is speaking to you, because that's why you're here. If you would like to explore this further, please check out my website and schedule a session with me. I offer spiritual and guidance sessions. I offer energy sessions, because energy healing, sound healing really gets in there to clear this energy out. It's huge. I offer a 12-week intensive program that is just wrapping up for some beautiful men right now. We're in our last week. I can't believe it. And I'll be starting another cohort in January. So when you're ready to seriously deep dive into all of this and really clear so much and get so conscious of your patterns and what's in your way, conscious of your limitations and conditioning so that you can release it, and conscious of who you are wanting to be and align with. What is your truth? What's in your heart? If we don't go on this journey, we don't really question and dive into it and like really get clear. What are my values? What's important to me? How do I want to live my life? So many people don't sit down and really get intentional and clear about that. So their life is just kind of willy-nilly, and we're at the mercy of whatever is handed to us and whatever we've been taught, and all of our conditioning and all of our limitations and all of our keeping ourselves in a little box to conform and fit into what's expected of us. So until we get clear on who we are and what's in our heart, and really go on that journey of self-exploration, and I'm not saying this program is the only way, but in general, we got to do this work for ourselves. We got to get clear on what we want and align with that. Then start the process of really aligning with that. Does everything in my life align with what is true for me? If it's not, let's look at that. Maybe it's time to let it go, right? Some change is necessary. So this program will help you with that so much. It's really huge and powerful. A lot of details on my website about that if you're interested, when you're ready for some serious change. And again, the pilgrimage coming up in November is epic and huge and life-changing. So website below, and I'm going to go and clear up some of the languaging around there for you. Let's see. Oh, and my sacred sexuality sessions, of course, one-on-one, beautiful, just connection or ritual to take it into that level. Sex magic, very powerful ways of connecting. Yeah, so that's me getting more clear and sharing with you all. And please like, comment, subscribe. The more interaction with this channel, the more it gets into the algorithm and shares this with others. I'm really passionate about, again, supporting us all to just have these juicy, sexy, passionate connections with ourselves, with source, and with the other. Always with ourselves first, loving ourselves, really knowing the truth of ourselves, really being in our hearts. So gorgeous, so juicy. So thank you to those that have donated to support the channel. I so appreciate you. Really, really just thank you so much. I think that's it, everybody. Happy full moon. This is a big one. This is some big stuff. So yeah, for individually and at the collective level. So and again, that death card, right? Allow what's ready to die to go. Allow it to go. Open to that rebirth. Open to that rebirth. Thank you all.